Hello, my name is Carrie Darcy, and I am a librarian here at the Thomas Crane Public Library. And I am joined today by a local debut author, Kimberly Meyer, who is here to talk with us about an upcoming program, a local authors panel. Kimberly, welcome, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Carrie, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate having the time to talk with you about this local authors panel. So it's Thursday, February 25th at 7 p.m. There are 5 authors on the panel, myself and 4 others, and we are going to be doing some short readings of some of the stuff we're working on and then answering some questions from the audience. So it's a real chance to get to know some local authors quickly, learn, maybe you'll hear a story that will become your next binge, and really get to put a face with a local book.
Very good. Well, can you tell us a little bit about your background and how you got started in writing?
Absolutely. So when I was a kid, my first book was Daggers of Ice. It was terrible. However, I really loved to write. And so no matter where I went or what I did, reading mystery stories and watching mysteries and listening to mystery podcasts was always kind of my go-to for fun. And I really got the bug. I'd say I was in DC for a while. So I was born and raised in Middleborough, Mass. And then I went to DC for college, and I came back about 10 years later, and I just got the bug. I really wanted to write again. So my book is called Murder at Constellation House, and it is actually set in Newport, Rhode Island. And here is the book, if you can see. There it is.
Oh, it's a beautiful cover.
Thank you. I actually designed it myself because I could not afford to get a book cover done. So this is the other version of the cover, but it was a little too gothic romance, and this is actually a cozy supernatural mystery. So I switched it up, but I had fun. So it's set in Newport, Rhode Island, because growing up, I would go to the Newport Mansions on New Year's. My family would book a hotel room and get a bunch of junk food, and we get to look at all the Christmas decorations. But what we would do is the day of New Year's, we would go to this certain diner that overlooked the Polar Bear Club jumping into the water. And that was one of our big things that we did. So they're just such wonderful memories that I knew I wanted to set a murder mystery there. And I did. So that's basically how I got into writing. I just had the itch, and I had to.
Your first book is a cozy mystery. Is this your preferred genre of writing, or was this just the first genre you went with for the first book you're writing?
So I am obsessed with Agatha Christie and Mary Higgins Clark and N.C. Beaton. And so this is definitely my preferred genre. My only critique of any of those ladies is there should be more ghosts. And that's what I did, because I like a good ghost story or a monster. So yeah, I absolutely love this genre. I definitely, in my perfect world, I would put out a cozy mystery a year at a different wonderful location and get to learn a bit about local history and add a monster or two.
Oh, that sounds great. Well, we're super excited to see what comes next from you. But you are here to talk about the local panel that you're going to be helping to present. Can you share some of the other authors who are going to be there alongside you, and what type of books do they write, and how did you meet each other?
So I'm so honored to read with all 4 of these other local authors, and I'm going to go in alphabetical order. So first, Lisa Braxton. Her debut novel is called The Talking Drum. I haven't had the honor of meeting her yet, but I'm really looking forward to it. Literally, her Twitter today said she just got hired on another board. She's won multiple awards, and including, I believe, an Emmy nomination for her television journalism, which is amazing. So her book is The Talking Drum, and it is a mystery set during gentrification in the 1970s in New England. And I finished it today, and it was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. Next up, we have Christine Lajewski. She and Jessica Levi, who are both in my local writing group, are fantastic authors. I've had the privilege of watching them through their writing process and see what they do. So Christine is a horror writer, and she is spine-tingling. Excellent descriptions. Definitely, there's one about a centipede she did once that still creeps me out to this day. So I'm not sure what she's going to be reading, but she just got published in a Wicked Women anthology. So she is, so possibly that she has some new stuff coming out, but she is just an excellent horror writer. Next up, we have Jessica Levi, and she is probably reading from her first published book. It's coming out, and it is The Night Library of Sternendock, a vampire opera in verse. So it's Pushkin sonnets. It's a vampire story. It's fantastic. It's so good. It's very gothic. It's very lovely. It just, she paints such a really intense and deep description. So I think that's going to be a really wonderful one for everyone to enjoy. And last up, we have Michael Whistler. He is a science fiction and futurist author, and also a filmographer. So he has some awesome videos out as well. And he thinks about the big questions around science and where we're going in the future. And so he wrote Unidentified, and I believe he will be reading from that book, or I know he just finished another novel, but I don't know if he's going to be reading from that one. And we met at a local church. And so he and his wife and me and my husband were just really close friends.
Oh, that's great. It seems like we've got a really diverse in terms of genres represented within the panel, which is really fantastic. I'm really excited to see and hear their work. I think it's going to be really exciting.
And I think that's going to be the fun of it. If you don't like one, the next one really might be up your alley. So it's definitely one of those of you and a few friends can come and listen, and maybe you'll like the horror and someone else will like the science fiction. But there should be something for everyone. And they're pretty short reads, but I think you'll know pretty quickly if it's your next binge.
Well, that's great. Do you mind if I ask, what do you and your fellow authors hope to share with viewers during the panel? Can you give us a little bit of a preview of what to expect during the program?
Absolutely. So what we're really trying to represent is just the joy of the writing community in the area. There are some really wonderful, fun, just wonderful characters who are actually doing a lot of good in the community, and they are writing books. So it's really fun to bring them together to just showcase the writing part of it and the fun that we're all having during a pretty dark time. So basically what's going to happen is there'll just be a quick intro, and then each author will get 10 minutes to do as they please. So there'll be a reading and Q&A, and each author gets to pick how long both will be.
So just a couple of personal questions. What compels you to write? What is the thing that drives you?
So for me, writing is cathartic. There's this great release, not all the time, but I get such a release from the day-to-day world by writing about monsters and ballrooms and, just all of those sorts of things. I'm currently a stay-at-home mom. I have a 15-month-old. So my days are, balls and trucks and ACAs. Those are airplanes. And my evenings are monsters and balls and, ballrooms and murders. So I really like that juxtaposition in my life. So I really look forward to it until I'm editing, and then it's just horrible, but it is totally worthwhile. So yeah, for me, it's compulsion. I really have to write.
Well, that's great. Do you have any tips for aspiring authors, especially anyone local who might be watching this?
Absolutely. There are some really great local writers groups that are very encouraging. And you're definitely not alone in the feeling of my writing's not good enough. I can't write tonight, etc. So what I really encourage you to do is just surround yourself with people that want to root for you and want to root for your writing, and who will tell you the truth about it. And also, when you're going through the editing process, really, really just hold on to, yes, this is really hard, but it's worth it at the end.
I think people are going to be really excited for this program. But just one last question. Is there anybody, I know you've mentioned a couple of the authors that you look to for cozy mysteries, but do you have any favorites outside of the mystery genre, ones that you might admire or whose style you try to emulate?
Yes. So I really try to focus on the cozy genre when I'm emulating. So I really try to emulate like a Mary Higgins Clark or an MC Beaton, but add a ghost. But there are so many wonderful authors out there. Just off the top of my head, Octavia Butler, who does weird fiction, is phenomenal. I absolutely adore Neil Gaiman, which I guess is not a shock. I think he's fantastic.
Well, thank you so much for stopping by to talk with us. Again, I just want to take a moment to thank you, Kimberly, for coming out. Our program is going to be on February 25th at 7 p.m. It is our local authors panel, and we are going to be joined by some great authors, Kimberly included. Thank you so much for joining us, and we hope to see you at the program on the 25th. Thank you.
Carrie, I so appreciate it. Thank you.